G'day and welcome to The Life Aquatic with Rob. G'day YouTube, Rob here with another episode from The Life Aquatic. I'm really excited by the topic of today's episode because today we will be looking at how to train your fish. Now that's not some kind of weird Disney fusion between Finding Nemo and How to Train Your Dragon, but rather in this series I'm going to take you along with me as I train these fish, the young African cichlids, and in this series we will see how far we can go with that training. In this episode we will be looking at how to get your fish comfortable with you, how to get them to the surface, which is where you want them, as that's where it's easiest for you to interact with them, and we'll finish off by getting them up to the stage of hand feeding in this episode. But before we get into that, I have to do the bit where I ask you guys to like, share and subscribe if you do like this episode, and thank you all for taking the time to come and have a squiz at this video. So let's get to it. Now we'll only briefly look at getting your fish used to you, as most of you will have achieved this without even trying. Now what I mean by this is getting your fish used to you being at the front of the tank and having them comfortable while you're there. The easiest way to achieve this is just to stand there while you're feeding them, staying there whilst they eat. Now if your fish are exceptionally skittish, you might want to move away a little bit, just far enough away for them to eat, and decrease that distance every day until you're standing in front of the tank while they're eating. And don't forget guys, if you have any questions, ask them in the comments, I will get to them all. So we should probably move on to the next segment, getting fish up to the surface. And to do this I use flake foods, but you could also use floating pellets. In fact, if it wasn't for the training aspect, I wouldn't feed these guys flake at all. Now once they're used to you standing there while you feed them flake, start putting your finger in the tank, your hand, etc. Now the idea here is twofold. You're trying to get them to associate you with food and to get them to realise that you being around is not dangerous at all. Okay, and now we get to the really interesting bit where I hand feed the fish. But I do just want to mention here that this footage has been cut down from about an hour's worth of footage, and I probably spend about another hour off camera training these guys. So as you can see, it doesn't take a great deal of time. And here you can see me using bloodworms to start them off learning to hand feed. Now I'm letting some fall out of my hand intentionally here, and basically it's creating a trail back to my fingers, and the fish are smart and they quickly work out where the food is coming from, and that if they go there to get it, they'll get it before the other fish. Now you don't need to use bloodworms in this step, in fact you could even use flake, but I tend to like to use something that they find to be really appealing, something that they only get fed as a treat, hence bloodworms. And these ones are of the frozen variety. But anything that you use as a treat that you can drop in little pieces from your hand will work for this step. Now this footage here is the first time that I tried hand feeding them, and you'll notice that not all the fish are interested, but those that aren't are still swimming around near the hand watching exactly what's going on. Now many people would argue with me that fish are incapable of learning by observation and are only capable of learning through experience, but I don't believe that to be true at all. And here we move on to some footage from the second hand feeding, and as you can see it's totally different fish that are actually going to the hand and eating. It's the convicts this time, Paddy and Selma, but you'll notice the other fish, as last time, are still hanging around watching exactly what is going on. And you'll also notice that Bert in particular, the yellow lab in the picture, is very, very interested. And I think if the convicts weren't spooking him, he would have eaten out of my hand right here, which I'm actually pretty chuffed about, as electric yellow labs can be a little bit skittish. You'll also notice that throughout this footage you'll see Grover down a little bit lower in the water column, and for those who don't already know, Grover is the big blue dolphin. Grover very rarely comes to the surface to eat the flake, he normally just waits for everyone else to knock it down for him, and as yet I haven't got Grover to hand feed, although I'm sure it's just a matter of time. And from here on in I might tend to go a bit silent from time to time, and that's because I've got tons of great footage that I think people will be interested in, and probably not enough voice content to fill it, so just sit back and relax and enjoy the fish, and I'll pipe up when it's appropriate. And here we see the guys having their first go at some cut up raw prawn, or shrimp for my American friends, and as you guys can see it takes almost no time at all for Silas, the little white peacock, to go savage and tear a little bit off and take it away for a chew. And given that this is their first time ever seeing shrimp as anything other than a live food, you can see that most of them are super interested, but the convicts don't seem to be that interested at all. And here we can see Elmo the Ricker Red peacock cichlid, and you can actually see him here fighting his natural instinct to be afraid and losing that fight at the very last minute. And here I decide that they might need a little taste to get them interested, and I drop some small pieces in, and you see Elmo do the old snatcheroo on Bert and Grover, coming over the top like an AFL player taking a specky. And here we have Ernie, the orange peacock, having his first go at a bit of shrimp, as he tears off a massive piece and takes it over near the filter, where he shakes his head savagely and breaks a bit off. It was at this point that I realised that I was probably dangling too much in there, that they were getting too much when they were taking it off, so from this point in I dangle a lot less in the water. And here, because I've only noticed 2 of the fish hand feeding, I decide to drop a little bit more in to give them the taste. And now we're coming up to their second feeding of raw prawn or shrimp, and because at this point in time I started organising my footage by date, I can tell you that this was on the 12th of August, and in this footage the last 2 fish other than Grover to not hand feed have their first go at it. So you've just seen Bert the yellow lab have his first go at hand feeding, and you see it doesn't take long before he goes back for some more. And here you see Elmo, the Eureka Red Peacock Cichlid. You can tell here that he's very interested and he's not far off taking some out of my hand. And here we have Ernie going savage on another bit and tearing it off, before he and Silas decide to see whether or not my fingers are actually made of food. And for those who might be wondering, yes, you can feel their teeth. At this stage it's about the same as coarse sandpaper, so it doesn't hurt. But you most definitely can feel them nibbling away on your fingers. And here we see Silas go full pitbull and tear himself off a nice big chunk and disappear off to the back of the tank to munch it down. And Ernie, not to be outdone, does exactly the same thing. And here we finally see Elmo having his first go at hand feeding. So now all of the fish except for Grover, the big blue dolphin, and Abby, the female Eureka Red, who at this stage is holding eggs, I have successfully gotten to hand feed. And now we move on to the final shrimp feeding session. I've left the camera audio in so you can hear this. And during the footage of this third shrimp feeding, you can actually see how the fish are lining up now to have a go at it. And although I'm disappointed that Grover's still down there watching, I'm pretty sure that he'll be up and joining in no time at all. But we will have to see in the next instalment. Now at this stage there's probably more than a few people wondering why I bothered to train fish at all, and I do it for a few different reasons. So firstly, it eliminates stress when I have to do things like water changes, and it makes the fish infinitely easier to catch if I ever need to, which generally I don't. And I also really enjoy interacting with my pets on a level more than just staring at them through some glass, and as you can see, this allows me to do that. And I'll just take a moment here to thank all you guys for watching, and to remind you that if you haven't already, subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode. And that if you guys did enjoy this, make sure that you hit that like button to let me know. And if you have any questions or comments or want some advice, leave me a comment down below and I will get to you just as soon as I can. And I'm also thinking of setting up a Discord so you guys can talk to me directly, get some advice, whatever you need. So let me know if you think that's a good idea in the comments below. And I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it. But don't click away just yet, as there's some awesome slow motion footage of Elmo taking some shrimp out of my hand at the surface. And here's the slow motion footage that I promised you. Thanks again for watching, and remember guys, look after each other and your fish.